we buried the only friend I have had since secondary school, Form 1.
Oh.
His name is Enoch Kwame Owusu-Kese. And this morning, I want to celebrate his life.
Right.
So, Enoch Kese and I entered secondary school Form 1 at Osu Presby Secondary School, Sendo, on the same day and year in 1969. He had been born and raised in Accra, and his big brother, Samuel, was a senior at the same school at the time of our admission. So Enoch was very much at home in the school. I, on the other hand, had just arrived in Accra about a week to reopening of school. I had lived in Kumasi all my life, so Accra was a very strange and intimidating city for me. I did not know the language, I did not know the city, and I did not know anyone in the school. Enoch, understanding my situation, appointed himself my protector and guide. His friendship made me feel comfortable and at home in school, and that friendship remained till he died. I celebrate the life of Enoch Kese not just because he looked out for me when I was a JJC in Accra, but because he was also the person who introduced me to the Youth for Christ drama troupe, J Theatre, in 1974, when we finished secondary school. That introduction completely changed the course of my life. Enoch lived his life without any inhibitions and without any airs. Nothing intimidated him and nothing upset him for too long. He was fun, he was humble, and he was giving. He was selfless and at his happiest when he was helping people find solutions to their problems. He did not care what people said or thought about him. You could laugh at Enoch and he would just shrug it off. It was Enoch who introduced me to Club Sandwich when he was working at the Ambassador Hotel, which was under the umbrella of State Hotels Corporation. And now I am hooked on Club Sandwich. So much so that whenever I stay in a good hotel, the first thing I order is a club sandwich.
Wow.
And that is the result of the impact of Enoch on my life. Now, the mention of State Hotels reminds me of how remarkable Enoch was and how at one point he became the most valuable staff of State Hotels Corporation. After secondary school, Enoch studied refrigeration engineering at Accra Polytechnic. On completion of the course, he was employed by State Hotels Corporation, which at the time oversaw all the state-owned hotels in Ghana, and that included Ambassador Hotel, Continental Hotel in Accra, Meridian Hotel at Tema, Atlantic Hotel in Takra, the City Hotel in Kumasi, just to mention a few. Enoch was a management or senior staff in the refrigeration department, which was also responsible for all the air conditioners and the central cold store. When Enoch assumed office, he decided to put his title aside and learn as much as he could from the junior staff, most of whom had been at the department when he was in school. Enoch recognized that his 3 or so years of technical education at Accra Poly could not equate the almost 20 years on the job experience of those he was supposed to supervise. So he decided to learn from them instead of bossing them around. He would join them in everything they did. Senior officers had a separate canteen from the junior staff, and Enoch was entitled to eat at the senior staff facility. But from day one, he chose to eat at the junior staff canteen so he could win their confidence. On the job, he would watch and ask them questions. At first, they scoffed at him whenever he asked questions. They would say, "Look at him, he's an engineer, but he knows nothing." What they did not know was that Enoch was acquiring their practical knowledge, and when he added that to his academic knowledge, he became streets ahead of them. It did not take long before these experienced workers discovered that Enoch had surpassed them, and now they were learning from him. You see, they knew how things worked. Enoch, with his higher education, knew why they worked and the principles behind why they worked. At the time, The central cold store of the Ambassador Hotel had been down for years, even before Enoch was employed. Experts had been brought in to repair it, but none of them had been able to get it working. Eventually, the hotel had given up on it and abandoned it. Enoch spent countless hours studying the system. He would go into the ceiling and follow every cable and trace every circuit. Then he would go home and draw them, and then he would test each circuit. One day, he went to the manager and said, "I can make the central cool store work." The man said, "No, you can't. Better qualified people have done their best, and even they have not been able to get it working. You would only be wasting your time." Enoch persisted and said, "I'm serious. I can make it work." The manager, thinking that the hotel had nothing to lose if he failed, gave Enoch the nod to see what he could do to bring the dead coal store back to life. When the staff of the department heard that Enoch had promised management that he would bring the coal store back to life, they laughed and said he had lost his mind. But Enoch set to work. And when the staff saw how meticulous he was working, they made themselves his apprentices. Enoch worked long hours on the project, and the staff of the department, without asking for overtime, would stay with him. In less than a month, Enoch had a coal store that had been written off working perfectly. The entire staff of the hotel were amazed, from the management to the kitchen staff, for whom the resurrected coal store made a lot of difference for their work. Overnight, he became a legend at Ambassador Hotel. Then the news started spreading within the state hotel ecosystem that there was a guy at Ambassador who could do wonders. First came a plea from City Hotel in Kumasi for the services of Enoch. Their central coal store had been down for decades. Enoch went there and spent about 3 months there, and was able to restore the coal store to perfect working condition. Then came a call from Atlantic Hotel, and then Meridian Hotel, and soon Enoch was the most in-demand engineer with state hotels. Last Saturday, April 13, at his burial service, someone said to me, "You know, when my mother died, Enoch brought me ice cream to cheer me and those who pass through the house up every evening." Another person said, "I live at Abokobi, and whenever Enoch used the Ebri Road, and he used that road very often, he will make a detour to see me." Almost everyone has something to say about the difference Enoch had made in their lives. He was stingy when he had to provide for himself, but extravagant in helping others. His name was Enoch Kwame Owusu Kesi, and he was my friend till he died. May his gentle soul rest in peace. And Mavi, that is my presentation for this morning.
Uncle, thank you so much for doing this. Thank you for celebrating him.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing